Hi, I'm Kelly from Kelly Jones Jewellery, and this is part 2 of this pendant that we did last time. So we've already done the bottom part. This tutorial will show you how to do the top part with the bail. So for this you're going to need your weaving wire. I'll put the lengths on the screen, and we've got a few extra beads to add to that too. And apart from that, you should already have everything from the other part of the tutorial, and I can't wait to see what you guys make from this. I would really love to see you finished pieces, so please tag me on Facebook and Instagram. My links are in the description below. Right, so this is going to be part 2 where we're going to do the bail for this pendant. This pendant was my last video and it went on a bit, so I think I was going to split it into 2. So for the bail section of this one, because I fancy doing a nice bail for it, we're going to do this in 2 parts. So separate your wires as I have here. So your front ones are pulled out and your back ones come straight up the back. They're pulled out a little. So you've got this nice flared angle to the wires, and we're going to work on just these bottom 2 wires first. So take your weaving wire and we'll attach with a few wraps around the bottom wire. Slide that down as far as it'll go. So just working across these 2. We don't want to pull them together as we're working. We don't want to misshape them in any way. So try and keep them this distance apart as you work. Try not to pull too tight on this wire that you pull these wires about. So we're going to go straight over your second wire, come up between, then we're going to go around that top wire a couple more times. So then bring your wire over the top, and we're going to go over this bottom wire, and we're going to go around that bottom wire a couple more times. Then we want to go over your second wire. So we've got over the opposite wire and then wrap a few times. And then pull it down and then go over your opposite wire. And this is the crucial part where you don't want to pull on this wire too much that you pull the wires together. And then we go around that side a couple more times. So we're just going to keep repeating that weave. Keep pressing your weave together as you go to keep it nice and tidy. So I've been repeating that weave just along those 2 wires. And as you get to this point, as you can see, my weave is sitting at this angle. And I want it to be straight up here at this angle. So as you do the next couple of repeats, I'm going to do about 5 wraps around that outer wire. And then go over the middle, the top wire for a couple of wraps. And then I'm going to go back out to doing more wraps on this one, just to bring the sides up a little bit for the next part. And now as you can see, we're more level. So I've just wrapped 5 times around for those last 2 repeats on that side. And I've gone to the middle and I've wrapped a few times around that inner wire. When I say middle, I mean the top wire, because we're just working across these 2, aren't we? And I have misshaped my wires a little bit. Oh dear. But yeah, we're going to stop there, and we're going to do this again on this side, and I want it to be nice and flat along this side too. So working across the other 2 wires now, and I'm going to recommend that you cut a second piece of weaving wire I've cut mine about 70 centimetres, it might be a bit long. So we're going to leave this one attached to the bobbin for now so we can carry on weaving afterwards. So take this weaving wire and I'm going to attach to that bottom wire. So I'm wrapping 3 times around the bottom wire. So we're just working across 2 and this is my bottom wire. Slide it down as far as it'll go. I'm going to pop that to the back, I think. Push it right the way down to the bottom. And again, trying to work so we don't misshape these wires. Mine have a little, so I'm going to try and match it up. So I'm going to do the same shape. So we've gone round the bottom one 3 times. We then have to go over the top wire. Push it down as far as you can. And then we go a few times around that top wire. Bring the wire over the bottom wire. Try not to pull too hard, so you pull those wires together. We go around it a couple of times. Then we go over the opposite wire. So over the opposite wire, wrap it around a couple of times, keep pushing it together as you go. And we'll carry on up until we get to the top. And when we roughly look like we're in the same place, we'll do the extra wraps on that outer wire to level it up across the top there. So I've done that weave on that side, and then when I got to the top, I did the little 5 wraps around the outer wire to match the other side. And you've got to keep pushing your weave down to compress it together. Now when I've got to here and it's nice and straight, so it's that big, now I'm adding my beads to this wire. So I've got a 3mm, a 4mm and another 3mm, and I've popped them onto that weaving wire and they nicely fill that gap. So you can add whatever beads you like, you just need to fill that gap. So you can add lots of little beads, you could add a couple of big beads. And then when you got into this position, you need to wrap a few times around this wire. And for a bit of extra strength, with it being the bail, I'm going to go, so I'm going to round it twice. I'm actually going to go back through the beads. So I'm going to post this wire all the way back through the beads, so my wire's back on that other side. So I've done it, I've managed to get the bead back through, the wire back through those beads. If you can't get your wire through, if the hole is too small or if it's just too fiddly, then just take the wire across the back, or you could even wrap it around the beads to make it quite pretty, just to get back to this side. So now our beads are secure and we can carry on weaving. So we've got a bit of wire left to carry on weaving on that side, and we've got our bobbin on this side. And push it all down, and that's where we're at so far. So I've done a few repeats past the beads, just to hold the beads down in place. So push it all down and we'll shape the next part. I think we can cut off that wire, that tail end from the beginning now. So looking at your bail, again my wires do keep rising a little bit. looking at your bail, we want to now make a diamond shape with that bail. So pinch it and hold it together really tight and pull that middle wire in. Then do the same for the other side. Hold it tight, pull that middle wire in. So we're making a diamond shape. And then holding it again in place, we're going to bend this outer wire in. And then this outer wire in the same. So we've got this kind of diamondy shape starting to happen, and our beads are just at the bottom of the center point. When you're happy with your shape, pinch the wires at the top here and holding them quite tight, bend them out at the top and then hold them again and take your outer wires out. And we're going to carry on weaving along this next part now. As you weave along where the weave comes together, rather than when it comes out, we know how to do that because we've just done that bit, but where it goes back in, the weave will keep trying to slide down the wires. So as you work, you need to keep holding each side as you go. See, it's starting to slide already. So you hold this side down and then you go over your second wire because you're still working only across these two wires. So you go over this wire and work that wire, and then you've got to hold that side to work this wire. So I'll just do a few repeats to show you what I mean. So we've got to hold this side down. So we're going to come up. And try not to misshape your wires. I think I've misshaped mine already. So we're going to go over the second wire. So it's the same as we did before. Over the opposite wire. And then keep pushing that down on that side. Go around a few times. And then come up between the two. And you're going to come over this side now. And as you do, that side, as you can see, is going to try and slide up. So now we've got to hold that side down and we're going to work this side. So holding that side down the best you can, it's hard to get to with them beads. And we're going to go around. And now we've got to keep pulling down on this side. Now if I go around only a couple of times, I don't think it's going to level up, so I'm going to go around 3 times. 3 times on this outer wire, then a couple of times on this wire, just to bring the weave in nice together at the top. So now I'm going on to the other one, so now I've got to hold this side down. So I'll go over that wire, that second one, come up between, and now you've got to really pull that wire down, both sides, because it's going to keep trying to slide. Okie dokie, so that's what we've got to do, and I shall see you when you get to the top. Do all of these repeats over both sides and try not to misshape your wires too much. So I've done my first side and I only did the 3 wraps at the beginning on this outer wire, and then I went back to doing the 2 all the way up. And if you do have little gaps, like I've got some little gaps there, this part is going to be the back. So if this bit is all spaced out, that's absolutely fine, because this will be the back and you won't see it as much. It'll still be there, you will still see a little bit of it, but you don't need to worry about it too much. So I've done the weave repeats on the other side. I have got some tiny gaps on there and my wire was only just long enough there. So I'm going to cut that now. And we'll attach the weaves together. So hopefully you should have something that kind of looks like that. Quite a big fancy bail for our pendant. You can do this bail on any pendant you like. You just need to have 4 wires coming up at the top there. And you really can weave across You can make this across any pendant at all really. So we're going to bring this wire over the second wire and up between, and then we'll go over the third wire and up between, over the top. Then we'll go around the top wire. This is the weave that we did at the very beginning of part 1 along the bottom of the pendant there, just to tie all 4 wires together. That we did that over more than 4 wires. So now we're going around each wire singularly on the way down, just to attach them all together. So you wrap around 2 wires all the way up, then you go around a single wire on the way down. So I'm going to do that again just to make sure they're all tied together. So you go around 2 wires all the way up. Does that make sense? Go around 2, then around the next 2. Then you go around the top wire, and then the next wire. So you go around each wire singularly on the way back down. Keep pushing it together, and that will hold them together. So we've finished our weaving, and we'll wrap 3 times around one of the wires just to secure that wire for now. Don't cut this wire just yet. So it would be handy at this point if you have got bail pliers. These are just so I can shape it around in a circular shape. You can always use your fingers if you want to, but we've put so much work into the weave, it's worth getting it nice. You can bend it around your fingers if you want to, but it will be nicer if you can do it with the bail pliers. So I'm just going to bend that weave around the pliers like that. So we end up with our little beads along the top, and that's why I wanted the extra strength with the wire going through twice, because if that little tiny wire breaks, all your beads are going to fall off. So your beads should be sat just to the front of that. Pop that out, have a look. That's quite pretty. And we're going to pull the wires apart a little bit at the back so that they come down nicely together. Pinch it at the back there. So now we need to secure the bail at the base of the bail here. So take your weaving wire, and where all your wires meet here, we're going to wrap around the whole thing. So I've gone around 4 times, and then I'm going to finish the wire by wrapping around one of these back wires, any wire, just to secure that bit of weaving wire there so it doesn't come undone. Cut that weaving wire at the back. Flatten down any sharp bits that you've got with your pliers. I really like how that bail has turned out, and if you look at the back, the way it scoops in, I really like that shape. So looking at the back, we're going to leave the 2 back inner wires at the back for now, and turning to the front, we're going to take these 2 outer wires, and that's what we're going to work with next. So we're going to take this wire and we're going to bring it around like so, and then we're going to take this wire and bend it around too, so that it goes behind that one, so they're crossing over each other in the middle there. Just a little finish off to the shape, and I thought it would add to continue all the swirls from the pendant. So that one needs to come up a little bit, go over that side, and that one needs to go over that side. Holding the front in place, bend them around to the back, and again keep checking the wires sit where you want them to. My one side's a little bit higher. So I'm happy with that shape at the front there. I'm going to finish these wires off at the back. I'm going to cut this one short and just wrap it around the bail, and the same for the other side. So you can stop whenever you want to. I'm just going to take this wire now. These are the ones from the back. Pull it around to the front, and I'm going to pop it around the middle. So I've posted it above the stone so it comes around the side. It just follows the flow of everything, finishes off this wire, and when it's oxidised it'll look lovely with all the different wires all going in different directions. And I shall do the same with this one too. Bring it around to follow and post it through the middle there. So those wires go around through the top of the bead, and then I'll pull this one through with my pliers because it's getting a bit tight now, and I shall just cut it off there and then squeeze it in place around there. And I'll do the same with the other one too. Oh, I do like to overcomplicate everything, so I've taken another bead. I just think there's a little space at the top that would benefit from having an extra bead. This is that little bit of wire I cut from the earlier. I cut earlier that was too long, so this is like 6 inches. And I'm going to post the wire through. I want to get the bead to sit there. So you want to post your wire. You can either post them around these bare wires, or you can post them through the weave, whatever, just to get it tight in there. So that's where I want it to sit, and I tried going around these bare wires and there wasn't enough room. I tried putting it through the weave and it was too high, so I've just taken the wires straight around the front section of that bail. So both wires have just gone around the bail. Pull it nice and tight so it holds that bead firmly in place. If you want a bit of extra security, you can go through the bead again. To just make sure it's definitely solid on there then, and it's not going to come off. And then we need to finish these wires. You can either wrap them around the edge of the weave, or you can go around one of these back wires, would be fine, but you just need to secure those 2 wires now. So I finished off those bead wires by wrapping around the bail weave. I'd got some gaps at the back there, which actually worked out to be an advantage, and I just wrapped around the bottom of that bail weave. So there we go, that's part 2 finished of this pendant. I just need to oxidise it now. And I forgot to mention, please mention me, a Kelly Jones design, when you're sharing your work online. And please don't show images of the back, as it gives the design away. This tutorial is only for YouTube. So thanks everybody. So there we have it finished, and I've oxidised mine. That's the end of part 2. I really can't wait to see your finished work. I do hope that some of you complete the whole thing. If not, this bail section can be added to most pendants. If you've got 4 wires coming out the top, you can make that cute bail section. So thanks for watching, and thanks for all the mentions. I really appreciate all you guys, and I will see you all in the next video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and please mention me when sharing your work online at Kelly Jones Jewellery Design. Thanks everybody, bye.